Hello Satnam, it's me, Shakti Sundari, and I'm back with you today for the next reading from the Radiance Sutras by Lauren Roche. Difficult for me to do this broadcast today. Really feeling intense emotional pain today. I guess it's partly today is a very powerful eclipse, and so it's a powerful energetic time in terms of the full moon and the eclipse. The Lion's Gate, as some people will know, is happening today, and I'm probably experiencing one of the most intense days of feeling in a long time, of really feeling my woundedness intensely today, and the pain in my heart of the separation from my beloved. So it's not easy to speak, and it's not easy to know that I'll be seen in this, and yet I am committed to this reading, and to these readings every day, no matter what, and to being seen no matter what. So I guess that's an act of courage. Yeah, I guess that is an act of courage, and saying that makes me feel a little bit better. Today's Yukti verse, the translation is very short, and so let's just dive into it. Yukti verse 73 from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Jagit icham samatpanam avalokya shamam nayet yata eva samutbhuta tata tatra eva liyate. I'm going to read that one more time. Jagit icham samutpanam avalokya shamam nayet yata eva samutbhuta tata tatra eva liyate. And as I read that, my eyes just alight on the Sanskrit in the book, because the way this book is set out, it's really brilliant actually. So there are the Sanskrit words in their original, and they're so beautiful. It's such a beautiful script to look at. Of course, I can't read it when I look at it in the original, but I can appreciate the aesthetic beauty of it. Then there is a transliteration, and then there is phonetic translation, so that I can read it and hopefully sound somewhat like I should sound when I read it. And then here is the translation. Just as a desire leaps up, and you perceive the flash, the sparkle, quit from its play, and maintain awareness in that clear and shining place from which all desire springs. I feel like in some ways these most recent meditations are more challenging, but that's probably just my own personal experience or perspective, of course. So the meditation is this: just as a desire leaps up, and you perceive the flash, the sparkle, quit from its play, and maintain awareness in that clear and shining place from which all desire springs. So you know, in Tantra there is a very particular approach to working with desire. In some conventional or traditional religions or perceptions of spirituality, there may be the inference or even the teaching that desire is wrong on some level. I was certainly given that belief when I was a Christian, that my sexuality and my desire was somehow shameful and wrong. But in Tantra, the approach is different. It is to recognize the desire and not to repress it, but to allow it and to feel it, but not necessarily to act on it, but to allow oneself to feel it completely as another practice and gateway to awakening. So that is what this practice is. It's allowing ourselves to feel our desire fully and completely, to not repress or feel shame or try and stop and deaden our desire, and yet to quit from its play. So maintaining awareness in that clear and shining place from which all desire springs. So going back before and or not running with the impulse to action which may arise from that feeling state. So it's a very fine distinction that requires a finely honed capacity for self-awareness and discernment. So this is really, quite an advanced meditation. It's quite an advanced practice from my perspective. My teacher, Shakti speaks about this in her book, Sexual Awakening for Women, of all the tantric temples in India at a place called Kajahuro. I think that's how you say it. There are many temples with erotic carvings all the way around the outside of these temples, of men, women, and I believe of animals too, in different states of union and coupling together as twos, threes, fours, and all possible permutations of sexual union and erotic pleasure that you might think of. And the idea there is that as a seeker, as a sannyas, as one looking for truth and awakening, you would stand at the outside of the temple and behold these carvings and allow yourself to feel whatever you feel. And until you could stand there unmoved, untouched in a way, but not through repression. That's the thing, not through repression. Only then could you go into the center of the temple, where there are no such carvings and statues, and simply one in the center of the Shiva lingam, which is the representation of the divine masculine, represented by a pillar, and the pillar is resting in a vessel of water shaped like a yoni, the vagina. So the iconic representation of the divine masculine contained within the divine feminine, which is the traditional representation for the two energies, the two polar energies of life that create all of life, which these meditations are all about, in union as one. And then when one perceives that and is able to fully understand that in an embodied way, there is a sense of awakening and of divine union and of knowing truth. So desire, and actually somebody wrote to me about this recently and asked, what to do when desire arises and whether to act upon it, and isn't it wrong? Or the impulse might be to deny it. So this is a very fine distinction, to feel it, to notice it, to welcome it. It's a flash, it's a sparkle, that's a brilliance. But to quit from its play. So at that point, to take a stand of maintaining awareness. And then from that clear and shining place, so again there's a brilliance, there's an illumination, a clarity there, to notice the place from which all desire springs. I remember in my own experience an encounter with a beautiful man for whom I felt a great amount of desire and attraction and connection. And he was in a relationship, so there was not the possibility to move further in that connection and take it into a physical union. And I felt a lot of sexual desire for him, and he did for me too, but you know, we were both committed to not acting on it. He was older than me and wiser than me, and what he would say to me is, feel the desire, allow yourself to feel it fully and enjoy that, but do not act upon it. And of course I found that very difficult and frustrating and confounding at the time, because the desire was so strong, and the desire of my ego to have her way was so strong. It was possible for me to be in that space, but it was a challenge for sure. So when something's a challenge like that, it's often good. It's a way for us to grow and evolve and learn something new when we don't always get what we want, but maybe shown something deeper and truer. So that's today's meditation, a meditation upon desire. Thank you for watching and joining me, and let me know if you practice this, how it is for you, or if you have any questions or experiences that are relevant. And join me again tomorrow for the next reading from the Radiance Sutras. Sat Nam.